Okay, hello everyone. So today I'm going to be making a video about how you can make your Raspberry Pi 4 boot from a microSD card to a USB flash drive or a USB SSD. So let's start. So this website shows you how to do it. It's tomshardware.com. I'll leave it in the video description so you can see it. And there's another website that shows you how to do it as well. This is a Raspberry Pi website which shows you how to do that. Exact same thing. So the first thing you have to do is you need to go to terminal, so you press Control T. I'm sorry, not Control T, it's Alt T. Just open up terminal like that. Close that up. Okay, it says type in sudo. I wrote this stuff down already in this notepad, so we don't have to look at all that stuff, but I will refer to it. So first thing you type in is sudo apt update. So this update, or what we're doing today, is we're going to be flashing the firmware for the Raspberry Pi 4, because the engineers at Raspberry Pi enabled Raspberry Pi 4 to use USB storage devices as bootable devices on your Raspberry Pi 4. So this is kind of like an official thing, but it is kind of like beta. So you could just do this at your own risk. I'm going to skip through this. We don't have to watch all of this. It's going to take a little bit of time for it to update and everything. Okay, now it's done. So next thing is sudo apt full upgrade. But yes. I can skip through this. It's gonna take a little bit of time. Okay, that's all done. Now the next part. That took me a while because I didn't update my operating system for quite a while. So if anything goes wrong with this command, sudo rpi update then your Raspberry Pi 4 is going to brick. So you have to reinstall your Raspbian operating system with Etcher and start all over again if this fails. So now I'm going to run it. So this is updating the firmware. Okay, it's doing its stuff. Yes, I'd like to proceed. Why? So it's doing all that. Okay, let's kind of like fast forward through this. Don't have to see all this. Okay, it appears to have updated my firmware. That's finished, so I'm going to save this. And sudo. So let's reboot and see if this computer boots or not. Hope it doesn't break up. Okay, it rebooted up. So I'm using a KVM with this Raspberry Pi. It's sharing a KVM with another computer, so that's why I had to press the switch. So okay, that worked. So I'm going to go back and open that file again. So the firmware update was successful, and it didn't boot. It didn't have any issues, which is a good thing. Okay, let me start up the terminal again. Okay. So I updated the firmware, so now I had to install this. Control Q and paste here, enter. So let this thing install. Okay, that's installed. I need to go in here and edit the file. Paste here, copy that. So it says change that from critical to beta on the website. Beta, and I think it's Control X and then Y for yes, and enter to get out. So that's been saved. So next thing is let me go back to that website. Okay. It says to use this command. Install the beta boot loader by entering all that. Okay. Gotta copy it. I already copied that, I think, but gotta paste it here and enter. I'll leave all this in the video description. So I need to reboot. Okay, sudo apt sudo reboot. Okay, I rebooted the computer. So next, let's go to here. Back. Okay, go back here. Start the terminal again. Go back here. Just type in this. I'm going to paste it and see which version I have. So it says I have the May 15th version, 2020. Okay, that's correct. Next one is I need to check for the config. Excuse me. So it has to be boot order equals 0x F41. Okay, that's what it states. Okay, that's it, I think. So let's go to here, accessories, it's SD card copier. Okay, that appears on here as well. So I'm going to turn on my USB hard drive. My hard drive, which is connected to my a USB connector. Okay. Okay, copy from device from the SD card to the SSD or the mechanical hard drive. Okay, I'm going to be copying to my mechanical hard drive. So this hard drive I'm using is it's a Seagate 160 gigabyte mechanical hard drive. It's just an old SSD hard drive, so I'm going to be just using this as an experiment. So copy device is, I guess, this, and I'm going to be copying to the device this, and I'm going to start. Let me see before I start. Okay, start. Yes, everything will be deleted when you do this, so it gives you this warning. Just let it finish up. So it's basically copying an image of my micro SD card to my hard drive, which is connected to a USB port. That's what it's basically doing. And I could just create another image as well, you know, not just this hard drive. I could create the image on a SSD, or I could create the image on a USB flash drive, which I can boot from. Which is pretty handy because it has this Raspberry Pi 4 or Raspberry Pi 4s in general have two USB 3.0 ports, and USB 3.0 ports are capable of transferring data at, I think, almost 600 or 700 megabytes per second, which is pretty fast. So SSD would be capable of a 2.5-inch SSD drive will be storage device would be capable of I would say about 500 to 550 megabytes per second, which is pretty fast, which is much faster than any micro SD card or a USB flash drive. I'm just going to be testing this on my old Seagate 160 gigabyte hard drive, and the micro SD card that I have on this Raspberry Pi 4 is basically a I think it's a 128 gigabyte Samsung Evo micro SD card, which is capable of about 60 megabytes per second. That's the bandwidth, maximum bandwidth. A regular mechanical hard drive should be able to do about anywhere from 90 to 110 megabytes per second. And if I decided to use a SSD, I could get much faster than that, maybe 5 times the speed of a regular mechanical hard drive, which is pretty good. So I'm going to let this copy, and I'm going to fast forward and tell you when it's completed. It's completed. That took several minutes. Okay, I'm going to close that now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shut down this. Well, I'm going to eject the USB device. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to shut it down. Forgot what that command was. Let's go over here and just shut it down, and then I'm going to remove the USB the micro SD card, and I'm going to try to boot from the hard drive. I'll show you the hard drive with the rack. So this is the hard drive rack, which is connected to a USB 3 port, and it is hooked up to a USB 3.0 port in the back of the Raspberry Pi. So I need to turn off the switch, remove the micro SD card from the Raspberry Pi, which is here, and I'm going to try to boot from my boot from that, basically. see if it works. Okay, now it's on. So there is no micro SD card in the Raspberry Pi right now. It's booting from the USB drive. And it works. This is booting from that hard drive basically. And if you wanted to copy the image on your on a USB flash drive, you could also do that as well. It's not a problem. So it works successfully. I'm very pleased with this result. So I'm going to go to YouTube and see if it works. So copy the image of my micro SD card to this hard drive. Play a couple of my videos and see if everything is working fine. So I'm not using the micro SD card, which I removed, which is right here, this thing. Static. I'm going to play this video and see if it works. If everything's working alright or not. Okay, it's working. Just like how it was. But I guess it is a little bit faster because it is using a mechanical hard drive. Okay, that's it. So I'm gonna shut this down. Thanks for watching by Ace 1000KS 1975. Signing out.